And we're joined by Triple C.
Yo, what's up?
Good.
It's Ishmael, right?
Huh? Yeah, that's my name.
Okay, Ishmael, that's what you go by. How are you, my brother?
How's retirement treating you?
How's what been treating me?
Retirement.
Retirement, man. The good life. It's too early, bro. It's too early, man. It's so far so good though. I think with the whole quarantine, everything that's going on, everything's been smooth, man. I've been traveling a lot.
Yeah,
I was with Mike Tyson
cool.
uh for the last couple weeks. And I don't know. It was an amazing time, bro, to say the least.
Happy you enjoyed it. I was also gonna
Yeah.
ask you, how did it feel being your last fight? Like, how was it knowing how did it feel fighting Dominic Cruz and knowing it was your last fight? Like, how did you feel? And it was also an empty arena, so
It was good. It was good. I think understanding that this is my last dance. Like this is it for me. It's also a motivator too. So when you have a goal in mind, and I feel like I've accomplished everything in MMA. So I'm an Olympic champion. Let me say it again: flyweight champion and bantamweight champion, and I defended both belts in both divisions. So there's nothing left for me to do, man. I'm not unless I go up and fight Volkanovski. I'm
well,
satisfied with my career. I'm happy, and I'm just moving on to the next chapter in my life.
I'm glad you mentioned Volkanovski because I was also gonna ask you, is there any fight, like not right now, right now you're enjoying retirement. However, is there any fight which would bring you back to the UFC anytime?
Um, it would be up against him. It would be after chasing a third belt. But
Oh,
even then, I don't. I wouldn't even have to think about it. I mean, the numbers would have to make sense to me to fight Volkanovski. I believe that I could beat him. I believe that he would be the biggest challenge. But I also feel like I can put him to sleep. With my speed and I'm a technician. So
that knee versus Dominic Cruz was really cool.
yeah, would you think of the fight?
I really enjoyed it. I watched it live at my house. It was just really weird that it was no fans. It was like really, it felt different like watching it.
Yeah, well, as a fighter, it was actually
I'm sure you guys enjoyed it, right?
yeah,
No fans.
as a fighter, it was cool. It was awesome because you had the ability to hear both sides of the court. You had the ability to hear what the people what their team was saying, and you can hear the game plan like really really clear. And I let you know that even though we do an individual sport, it's still like a team. It's still a team that's in there, and that's what I saw, and I think that's what made it special for me.
Yeah, I also saw in your interview with Logan Paul, you were like talking about how you can hear the coaches and you guys had like different words so the other team doesn't understand what you're saying, right?
Yeah, code words. So, like for
Words.
instance, like spaghetti,
That's cool.
pumpkin, potatoes, because we knew going into fights. Fighting's like it's a war, man, and you got to know how to. And you know how to. You need to know how to deal, and you need to know how to deal with the war. And I think that's something that our team and we had discussed it, knowing going in that we're gonna be able to hear everything. You can hear the commentators and things like that.
That's
But
crazy.
it was we were super prepared for the first event, during the whole quarantine or whatnot. But it was amazing, man. It was an amazing outcome. It was an amazing career. And
Yeah, it was.
when you get older, man, and you've accomplished a lot, man, you'll understand my position now.
I
As a
feel like you did
fan,
everything. Like,
I know everybody wants to see me fight. But as an athlete who's accomplished, who's satisfied with his career, I'm ready to move on, man, and do other things in my career.
yeah, after winning the Olympics, ending Demetrius Johnson's streak, beating TJ Dillashaw, knocking him out, that's like, I guess you deserved your right to get the next chapter in your life.
Yeah, call it quits, man. How old are you, Ishmael?
16.
Yeah, you're
16.
16, man. You,
Yeah.
you grew already, bro. You look different since the last time I saw you. And
Yeah. I grew a little.
yeah, are you still based out of Turkey?
Huh? I still live in Turkey. I'm Turkish, yeah.
Cool. What time is it down there?
Oh, it's glad you asked. 3:50 right now, a.m.
3:50 a.m. and you're not tired?
But anything to interview Triple C? Anything?
I like it. I'm excited. I'm excited for your future, bro. I'm excited to things like this, what you're doing right here, and I can appreciate them. And these are the things that are going to inspire you to someday be like be a good commentator like Ariel Hawani someday or better.
Well, you know how much that means coming from Triple C.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, bro.
But right now, we're not talking about me. We're talking about you. So one
Yeah,
more
go ahead.
question. Which
Yeah.
fight did you enjoy the most in your career? I was also gonna ask you that.
Yeah, well, I can break down a bunch of I can break it down and kind of give you a longer answer
Yeah.
because I had some very epic matches, epic fights, and I think I would say number one is I'll go from four. I'll go from 4 to 1. Is that
Okay.
okay?
Top. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So my top four. My top four is my number four is Dominic Cruz. Even though it's my last fight,
Hmm.
I beat the greatest bantamweight of all time, and
Yeah.
knocked him out in 2 rounds. I like that, especially as my career as say goodbye to it. Number three, I would have to say T.J. Dillashaw.
Yeah.
You know, beating T.J. Dillashaw and saving the flyweight division and beating him in 32 seconds while he was on EPOs.
Oh
I think
yeah.
that was,
He's
I think
still.
that was and that was a very special match for me. And then so that's number three. So now number two would be Marlon Moraes winning my second bout. Getting beat up in the first round to getting beat up in the middle of the second to changing the whole fight, and then eventually knocking him out and then becoming a double champion of the UFC, which officially became Triple C. That's
I'm guessing
number
he
two.
became number one.
One and number one is Demetrius Johnson, man. Demetrius Johnson is I consider him the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. Even though I beat him, I still consider him the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. The man that knocked me out in 2 minutes and 36 seconds the first time we
Okay.
fought, to eventually getting a rematch, beating him in a razor thin split decision, and accomplishing my goal, becoming the first Olympic and UFC champion, the first and only in history. So there you have it, Ishmael. Those are my top four fights, man, in UFC history.
Cool. That's great. I was kind of guessing that Demetrius Johnson would be number one. I have no idea why. I just thought that was the fight which you enjoyed the most. And maybe one of your
Yeah,
favorites, I'm guessing.
yeah. I think when you admire somebody, when you fight somebody, and there's a bit of admiration that you have for them, it's special, man. It's special to say, hey, I beat the guy that I admire as a fighter, and that's what Demetrius Johnson was for me, and it was special.
Yeah, that's cool. You respected him. He respected you, I'm guessing. Nice.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask, this question could be a little not that well, but I was just because you said you're already retiring, a little taking it easy right now. But I felt like you always had that like character. So I was thinking like, do you think like WWE is I don't know because fighters like Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey have went to WWE, like yeah, and I thought you would be like a great character for that. I don't know why. Like you got
Yeah.
that.
Did you
Wow.
see the first? Just so you know, Ishmael, a lot of stuff that I do, it's a persona, man. They say don't come out of character. Never want to come out of character, but since I'm retired, I can come out of character and be normal. A lot of like the Triple C stuff, like it's real because at the end of the day, I do have to back it up. I do have to. I'm being
Yeah.
I'm elevating it with my words but not just with my words, but with my action. But at the same time, it's a lot of pressure, man, when you do that.
I
People
understand.
may not like me, but they're emotionally invested in watching me fight, watching me win or watching me lose.
Yeah.
So, I was just I'm just extremely happy with everything. And who knows? Did you see my thing with Mike Tyson?
What?
Did you
Excuse me?
did you see my did you see my the wrestling matches with Mike Tyson that we have?
Oh, AEW, right? You guys went to watch it.
AEW. Yeah.
Yeah, that brand is growing much more than WWE right now. It's like becoming a big thing.
Oh yeah, you think so?
Yeah, it's becoming big. Like lots of WWE fans are moving there, so like to watch. They're thinking the storylines and stuff are better.
Yeah.
I liked when you both all of you went in the ring. That was pretty cool. You guys confronted Chris Jericho, right?
Yeah, we fought Chris Jericho and all those
Yes.
dudes, but it ain't over yet, bro. So you better stay tuned, man, because we're coming over. We're coming to take Chris Jericho out with
Oh,
Uncle Mike.
yeah. I'm excited for that. Okay, so I got a little more questions. Like very like not that these are like my questions I'm always gonna ask a fighter. Like these are
Yeah,
like not about fighting, they're just interesting questions.
yeah, please do, bro.
So I was gonna ask, what is your biggest fear? Does Triple C fear anything?
What do I fear? I thought I used to fear death, but not no more. Um, what do I fear? Oh, man. You know, I fear disappointing people. I fear making like wrong mistakes. You know, where I hurt people.
Like in the fight or in the conference?
You
Like
know, no, just in life, dude. You know, you never want to hurt. I fear hurting people. You know what I'm saying, emotionally, because I believe like the spirit is you have to protect it, and I feel like I've always been the messenger of that. And you know, even though I do the cringe stuff, like it never comes out of like malice or anything. It just comes out of entertainment. But you know, I fear of hurting people like emotionally.
uh
That's my fear.
yeah, I got a few more. So is there something you would never do?
What's that? What do you mean?
Like, is there anything you would like regret doing or like something you would never want to do in your life? Like something
Yeah,
it could be something you're scared, it could be anything. Like
yeah. I would never want to. I would. Hmm, I would never want to like kill somebody
that was a bad question.
or go to prison. So those are the things that I would never want to do.
Yeah, I saw Usman's story about that. Did you see? Live?
What's up?
He had a live.
Did
He
I,
was explaining like he went to prison for no reason, stuff like that. Like
who was that?
Usman.
He went to prison.
He told me he's doing a live in Instagram and he was explaining like a long time ago he went to like it was not his fault and he went to prison like for 2 days or something.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah,
yeah. He explained
yeah.
his
He actually just called me right before I FaceTimed you.
Oh really?
Yeah, so I'm gonna talk to him. I'm
Yeah.
gonna see what he says.
No, he did a live and wanted to talk about his past or something.
Qué linda mi baby. Vem aqui, baby.
Okay, this
Vem.
one's a little interesting.
Criança, baby. É brasileiro. Você é brasileiro, né?
Um, minha mãe é brasileira, eu não sei português muito bem.
Não, não sabe. Aqui tá minha namorada, ela é brasileira.
É, é,
Lembro, lembro que conhecia as irmãs de você na
primo,
Abu Dhabi. Não, irmãs. Irmãs. Suas
my, my
irmãs
sister.
pequenas. Yeah, your sisters. I met your little sisters in Abu Dhabi.
One was my cousin, one was my sister.
Oh, okay. My girlfriend's being shy over here, Ishmael. She's I wanted her to say hi to you, but she's like, no.
She doesn't have to. If she
Yeah,
doesn't want to.
yeah. So what's up, man? Hit me with the last question before I jet out of
Okay,
here.
this maybe not the right time because you're next to your girlfriend, but did you ever have a celebrity crush? I'm sorry, I didn't know that your girlfriend was. Maybe not the right time to ask.
Yeah, wrong time.
Sorry.
Wrong.
No.
But yes, I have.
Don't have to answer that if you want.
Yeah, I I plead the fifth.
Okay.
You know what plead the fifth means?
Not
It's in America. In America, we have like the right to remain silent.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? So when they say I plead the fifth, means I have the right to remain silent. Like I don't have to tell you anything
Okay.
through the cops or nobody could do anything if you don't want to speak.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's pretty cool, man. I feel like that's what a lot of people should do is plead the fifth.
That's it, Triple C. I really appreciate it that you did this interview with me. I'm really
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah, did you record everything, bro?
Yeah,
Did
I
you get
did.
everything done?
I recorded
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. Keep up the good work and
Thank you
keep
so much.
pushing, keep striving. And I'm glad I was able to be part of your career. And I hope you so much success. And remember these three things that's made Triple C successful. And I call it dream, sacrifice, victory. The bigger the dream, the greater the sacrifice. The sacrifice always has to be greater than the dream in order for you to accomplish victory.
Thank you so much, Triple C.
All
Henry
right, brother.
Cejudo. There you have it. Thank you so much. Let's go. But
See you, brother.
remember
Take care.
yourself in Abu Dhabi.
All right, brother.
Okay, bye bye. Thank you so much.